Greetings, folks. Actually, I better just wind my windows up. I'm on the way home from work. I'm just dropping into Woodbridge railway station to pick up some tickets. So I've got my order number here and my debit card that I paid with. So I thought we'll just have a little wander down there and perhaps have a little wander up the river just for a minute or two. And then I might show you the UFO spot. Try not to get run over. Tell you what, that's a posh taxi. Let's go and collect my tickets and then we'll go over the bridge. So we'll just go for a walk instead.
I can just imagine you for like
over the train tracks. It's a safer bet. Someone's left their gloves. Had probably just my only gay encounter in my life. It's a bit of an admission. I haven't told many people this, but a mate of mine at school and I came down here one day and borrowed a rowing boat from another friend. We went out for a row, drunk a few cans of beer. I was in the mood for a kiss and a cuddle, so we had a bit of a kiss and a cuddle, but it wasn't really my thing, but I gave it a go, didn't I, you know? So I was gay for a day. And the age-old formula of the size of the bottle, the strength and the cost, and worked out that martini was the cheapest thing to get out of your head on. I think this will show my age. It was about £2.80 for 70 centilitres of martini, and takes a great deal of commitment to drink straight, neat martini because it's bloody awful on its own. But he fancied an orgasm, so while we were all sitting here drinking and laughing, he took the matter in hand and done the dirty deed. Here somewhere. And you know, you've got to admire him.
Stand there and take it. This is your great song. I don't get what this is.
I'd love to stick around and watch that raft race, but I haven't really got the time, but I can imagine that's going to be fun. Lots of people working hard in the boatyard. I don't know, it seems to be that the amount of fun you have on a boat is inversely proportional to its size. Some of these big boats seem to spend most of their life out of the water. There you go. Look both ways, okay. Up, down, and nothing coming. Ipswich, Lowestoft. I can smell that creosote. Anyway, onwards and upwards. There goes the train. I don't know if you're upside down or not. Do it that way. Well, here we are in Rendlesham Forest. And when I was a much younger man, I used to come up here and stand just up the road there and watch the American aeroplanes come flying into RF Woodbridge. And there's a massive runway there. In fact, in the Second World War, this was an emergency runway for any planes that were just about limping home or still had bombs on board or had problems. If you could land anywhere, this was the place to come to. And you can just see the runway lights over there, and that is one hell of a runway there. But it's more famous for the Rendlesham UFO incident. Now, they even make a thing of it now. We've got a UFO trail. Well, just where I've parked up here, this is the end of the sort of the jurisdiction of the American Air Force. Just down there was East Gate, and one night some guys were patrolling the edge of this fence here, and they saw some lights up in the forest over here. And over the course of, I haven't read up on this for such a long time, so if I get it wrong, please excuse me. But they did come back with a chap called Holt. I can't remember whether he was a colonel or a commander. I seem to think commanders only happen in the Navy, so he was Colonel Holt, I think. And they had various, well, they had a Geiger counter, which I always find a bit odd, because why would an American Air Force base, which always swore blind they never had nuclear weapons stored there, why would you have a Geiger counter just laying around? Anyway, that's another topic for debate. Anyway, they came up this way and followed the lights. And I'll show you why I think it all happened. Whether these signs here agree with me, we'll have to see. I haven't been this way for such a long time, but I did come up this way 5 or 6 years after it all happened. And there were some trees that were being cut down just afterwards, so that's where I think it all happened. It's not a very long trail, and there's some more broom here. I showed you that when I walked round the broom in Orford the other day. You can't kill that plant. It's got such fine needle-like leaves that it doesn't lose a lot of moisture. All this lot here has been cut down within the last few years. Last time I came, they were quite tall. They're about, well, half the height of these beasts here, but they were all about the same age. I think the UFO trail is fairly accurate, but we'll see. I remember there being a little crag pit or a little pit in the ground up here. And this does sort of follow the course that I remember. There's lots of warning signs around here because they've actively been felling trees, but there's no one about at the moment because it's getting a bit late in the day. They're all on their way home, I expect, with their loved ones. Now the signs are pointing in the direction that I figured out and I thought that the incident happened, so I think they're being genuine. Last time I came there were signs here, but the first time I came they hadn't made a big thing of it. Make of that what you will, conspiracy theorists. But if we find a bit of a crag pit in the ground up here, then it's definitely, I think we're getting quite near it because I can see a field here. And I think up here is the field where the lights disappeared over up to one of the farm workers' cottages. Here is the crag pit in the ground. Whoa. Sort of quite a deep indentation in the ground, and this was always here. But I'm trying to remember where I was the last time I came this way, where I saw that a lot of trees had been cut down. I think it was this side, just in here, that obviously a lot of trees had been cut down. Now, one or two people do say that was it just there? They're much younger trees beyond those big trees. I really can't quite remember, so I wouldn't hand on heart say that I know what I'm talking about. But when I came up here 4 years perhaps after it happened, there've definitely been a lot of trees cut down. Another one for the conspiracy theorists. Anyway, this is the field here at the end of the forest, and you can just see over there the little farmer's cottage, and the UFO landed somewhere here, done its stuff, scared everyone witless, and then it took off and disappeared over this field, and it sort of buzzed that cottage over there. I haven't got a lot else to say about it really. These trees here have grown up on the horizon. Those trees have grown up a heck of a lot over the past few years. There's one ridiculous theory that they've just mistaken Orford Lighthouse. You can't even see it. I can remember when I came up here, when it had been late 80s, early 90s, you could just see Orford Lighthouse on the horizon, but these pine trees over there, or the trees over there, have grown up such that you can't see the lighthouse on Orford Island. But Orford Island is literally 5 miles away in that direction, so you'd have to be pretty thick to mistake a lighthouse on the horizon 4 or 5 miles away for a UFO. So whatever happened here, I think you can discount that, because the last time I came, not the last time I came, the time before when I came, the lighthouse was still in operation. Orford Lighthouse isn't used anymore, but because it's a lighthouse, it predominantly shines out to sea, and if you're standing here, you're well inland. We'll go this way just for a change. Do you know, it might have been just here that the trees were all cut down or younger. These trees are fairly young. How old's that? 20 years? 25 years? If that. Anyway, as I was saying, the beam of the lighthouse was predominantly in that direction. That is east, which is why the gate at this end of the runway is called East Gate. Now, when the lighthouse was in operation, if you came up here and stood here one night, which I did in the middle of the night, the beam didn't really shine inland much. So I really discount that theory. I don't think that's correct. There is another theory though. I think my memory's quite good actually. Just another little view there of the quite isolated little farm worker's cottage. I know his name at the time, but I won't say it. And apparently the UFO buzzed around over this field and sort of flew around that little cottage there for a bit. But let's go back through here. Bracken gives off cyanide. Don't know whether it's a very good thing to make your bed out of if you're sleeping rough in the forest. Probably doesn't give off enough cyanide to kill you, but why take the risk? Anyway, where I did just say that these trees look a lot younger and put my hand around one, that's where they've built the UFO sculpture. And it's, well, it's about 20 or 30 yards away from where I remember all the rumours saying that it happened. So I think they're being quite genuine and honest, actually. And they've got a nice display board here. News of the world, UFO lands in Suffolk. You are here. Oh, I'm glad they've got a map here because I'm not walking all that way back. I'll go back the way we found, but I'll carry on up here and try and show you the end of the runway. Well, it doesn't actually name Colonel Holt here, but it's quite informative. As I said, look, it is reported that RAF Bentwaters housed nuclear weapons during this Cold War. Well, this is RAF Woodbridge, but if you drive on the Sutton Road the other side, there are a hell of a lot of underground bunkers there, so make of that what you like. And it does say here that various skeptics have suggested this event was caused by a meteor, and one was around then at Christmas, or site of the then operational Orford Nest lighthouse seen through the forest tree line. I doubt that. I'm going to go back the way I came anyway and wave goodbye to the UFO. See you, mate. You know, some of my wilder days, if a UFO had landed here in the forest and met me, they'd have thought, don't think we'll bother with this lot, and took off straight away, I reckon. And on a very similar theme, the only local rumour that I heard at the time, and if you've got to bear in mind that I was quite an impressionable young teenager when I heard these stories, was that the airmen were off their face on magic mushrooms. Could that have been the case? Well, I don't know. I've never done mushrooms, so I wouldn't really know. I've done heaps of LSD when I was really younger. I can't remember ever seeing anything that isn't there. What was there was really mucked up. But can you take enough mushrooms to convince yourself that you're seeing a UFO when it's just a lighthouse, or nothing there at all, or just another patrol car with its blues and twos running on top? I don't know. I think you'd be too busy rolling around laughing. So I think that was just a little bit of a, well, another one for the conspiracy theorists. Maybe that was just something they said to discredit it, but you know, hats off to the Forestry Commission for actually admitting that, you know, something was rumoured to happen here. Anyway, we'll head back into the sun and I'll show you the end of the runway. I've come a fair old way, halfway back, but I'm leaving the shade of the forest and it's quite open here now, so start. Oh, hear that? A woodpecker, a green woodpecker, I think by that call. Oh, it's still very hot. I'm sweating like Jonathan King on a school bus. Anyway, I'll show you the end of the runway in a minute. So here we have it, the runway lights still there. Don't get any planes here now. A few helicopters, but I think the MOD are planning to sell off Woodbridge Air Base. But I remember when I first had a car, I'd often come up here and park up there and come here, because the planes would roar over the trees and all land on there, and you can just see the runway up there, hopefully, if the sun isn't in the lens too much. particularly like Hercules. I suppose you call them C-130s these days, but we always called them Hercules. Used to make a nice drony noise at night, so you'd lay in your bed and hear a lone Hercules droning along in the sky. And I remember that noise always used to make you feel really warm and cosy in your bed. I don't know why. A piston aircraft like that, four engine piston aircraft. It's a nice drony, lonely sound. So there we have it. This would have probably been the track that the US Air Force personnel were patrolling when they first saw the lights in the forest. I'll let this car go past and I'll tell you one last theory which might have a little bit of credence to it. It's the fact that on this airbase back then you had the helicopters, and I can't remember what their name is, only we used to call them Jolly Green Giants. And they were absolutely massive helicopters. I think they were Sikorsky's. And this was one of the air bases where they practiced plucking up the Apollo capsules out of the sea and retrieving them if, you know, they couldn't land or something went wrong and they ended up in the wrong part of the world on touchdown. This lot here were equipped to retrieve them. And they say that was classified information. I don't really know why that would be classified information, but they used to practice with a thing that they used to call boilerplate. I don't know why, but it was a big conical representation of the Apollo capsule, splashdown capsule, that was approximately the same size and the same weight. Was one of those dropped in the forest? Was that what the UFO was? We don't know. A lot of people going home now. I've had a nice day in the forest and I've had a nice little walk in the forest on my way home. I'm going to go home and have me dinner now. I've got no idea what the time is because I haven't brought a phone. So I'll see you all later. Hope you enjoyed it.